Most days start without much of a signature. You follow the usual patterns and the hours pass by in the background. But every so often, a quiet morning, like April 22nd, 2026, brings a perspective that changes how you view every year that came before it. When you grow up without a traditional father, there is a specific kind of silence you get used to. It's the vulnerability mentioned in the 27th Psalm, the fear that if the primary source of protection is gone, you are left to navigate the world entirely on your own. But if we map my family based on function rather than just names, the traditional lines disappear. These men weren't just relatives filling a role. They were operating on specific assignments. They formed a decentralized network of protection that functioned as a single unit. The vacuum I thought I saw wasn't actually empty. What looked like an absence of a father was a space being actively filled by this hidden, coordinated network of support. This wasn't an accident. In Jeremiah, there is a description of a plan designed for peace and a future, and implies that provision isn't a reaction to a crisis, but a blueprint that existed before the need ever arose. That blueprint is carried out by people. God used specific individuals to step into my daily life and act as the hands and feet of that promised hope. Since there wasn't one singular father figure to provide that future, the responsibility was distributed. The role was broken down into parts and assigned to several people at once. For a child to develop, they need two immediate things. The first is a defender, someone to provide a physical and emotional shield between them and the rest of the world. Uncle Donald A. Lamb took on that specific assignment. Whenever I was vulnerable, he was the one who stood in front of me, absorbing the pressures I wasn't ready to face yet. But safety is only half the requirement. A child also needs a spiritual guide to help them build internal confidence and a sense of direction. Uncle Bobby C. Ward provided that internal structure. By giving me a seat at the table and speaking wisdom into my life, he gave me the tools to trust my own steps. When you look at the pieces side by side, the structure starts to take shape. Defense and spiritual guidance fill the first half of the void, creating a foundation that didn't exist before. As I got older and tried to find my own path, I needed more than just a shield. I needed an encourager, someone to point the way forward when I felt lost. Uncle Elliott Lamb stepped into that void. He was the one who directed me and encouraged me during the years when I was still trying to find my footing. But the most important part of a parent's covering is the part you can rely on every single day. You need consistency. My brother, Micheal J. Ward, was that anchor. He showed up repeatedly, offering both defense and wisdom over the long term. He was the constant in the equation. With encouragement and consistency added to the map, the circle closes. The fragmented pieces of support come together to form a complete, protective covering. Sitting by that window, the math finally made sense. I had to admit that individually, none of these four men were my father, but together they carried every single function a father is supposed to provide. There wasn't a single need left unmet. This is how Romans 8:28 actually looks in practice. God multiplied the provision across 4 different lives so that I would always know He was the one orchestrating the outcome. Seeing that pattern clearly for the first time changes things. When you realize how much collective effort went into keeping you safe, gratitude starts to feel like a responsibility. Hebrews speaks of a cloud of witnesses. My uncles and my brother are like runners who have finished their leg of the race. They carried the baton of protection as far as they could, and now they're handing it off. All the protection and wisdom they poured into me wasn't just for my benefit. It was a deposit. And now there is a younger generation looking to me for that same covering. A testimony finds its full purpose when the person who was carried finally reaches back to lift someone else. The evidence points to a single truth. God does not leave His children uncovered. He assigns people to carry us until we can stand on our own, and eventually until we are strong enough to carry others. I was never standing alone. Looking back at the people He sent, I can see I was covered all along. This family was a legacy engineered by the Father who never left.